So, are you a realtor that is struggling to build your business? Maybe you're starting life over. Maybe you're scared with this whole NAR thing, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I need some help. Well, today I'm going to give you a little tip of something I did a couple years ago that might be a first step. So, I'm Kathie Byrnes. I'm a realtor here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and if you want to know tips about real estate and you're in that 40 plus age group, you may like my channel. So subscribe below, ask me questions, stay tuned, check out some of the other videos. I think you'll find some information that'll be valuable. So about 2 years ago, I said, I feel like writing a little ebook. It's free, you don't have to pay for it. It's going to have a link right here. And it's all about starting fresh and building a business. Because when I moved to North Carolina from Michigan, I was broke. $600 to my name. My daughter took me in. It was great. Thank God for her. I had jewelry and some collectibles that I could sell, which I did on my eBay store over probably about 3 years. It took me about a year before I figured out I should be a realtor. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was 55 at the time, just about turned 56 when I actually got my real estate license. And I knew one person in the state, my daughter. So the first thing I did was start networking, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the reason I wrote the book, which is called From Rookie to Rockstar, was because there's some basics that you just need to know and pay attention to, even with this fast-changing scenarios with NAR and with AI. There's just some basics that you need to know. And if you follow some of those basics, there's lots of tips in there. It's only 27 pages, as I mentioned, and it's got books that you need to read for attitude. It's got some unique ideas like garage sales. That's a big one. And this is the season. This is June right now. Do you know how many garage sales are going on? You need to learn about the garage sales. I may give you a little bit on the end where I'll tell you about how I got several $1 million listings because of garage sales. So being broke was actually a good thing for me in the beginning. So anyway, I wrote this book with these different chapters and different tips so that you kind of have a base, a foundation. Because right now with all these changes in NAR, we've got some real changes coming up. If you're brand new to the business, good. You're going to learn it right from the get-go and then it'll be perfect. But if you've been in a while or struggling, this change is a big one. The most important thing that you do is learn everything you need to about having a buyer presentation. Now, yesterday, I was on a Zoom call, and one of the guys was doing a presentation teaching us about how to be prepared for that. If you're interested in that link, just say something below. I want that video on buyer presentation. Say something like that in the remarks, and I'll get that to you. I'm going to need your email address. Just DM me or make a message in there, and I'll reach out. So, bottom line is, they were talking about a real strategy of how to let the new buyer, that maybe this is someone new to you, or even someone you've worked with before who may not have any idea of all the stuff that you do, because now you got to validate your commission, right? So the things in the book are going to help you with the foundation stuff, but this buyer presentation is critical. And if it were me, I would have it digitally, I would have it in print, I would have it based on personality styles, and that's what he was talking about. That made sense to me. If you don't know personality styles and you haven't studied this is an important piece that you need to know about. The DISC profiles. You can go to Tony Robbins, I think it's tonyrobbins.com/DISC, DISC. And the reason that's so important, the first thing you want to start with is yourself. Find out your personality style. Because don't you notice that different people have different styles, and you ever wondered about it? Well, there's 4 main categories according to this program. Now there's other ones, but DISC is pretty predominant in the personal development arena where salespeople study the DISC profile. So a D is a driver. They're the ones that want a bottom line. So if you're creating your buyer presentation and you are dragging this on with all kinds of detail, a D does not want detail. They are drivers. Give me the bottom line. Just tell me the basic circumference of the story and bottom line it, I'll make my decision. So you need a couple different styles. So you got to be paying attention to their style to know how you're going to present it. And now a D could be married to a C, and a C is like an engineer. They are detailed on steroids. And you know how opposites attract. They kind of fill each other's gaps, right? So a C, they need it all. They need all the details. So you got to be prepared for both, right? Because this is often how it is with couples buying homes. You got completely different styles. He wants something, she wants something different. They got to look at something different and then each other. Oh, I'm dealing with that right now. Quite challenging, but all doable, right? Because that's part of your skill of knowing your style and how to work with those styles. For me, I'm an I with D, and I struggle with the engineer because they want so many details. I don't want the details. I don't want to even know the details. I just want to give you the bottom line. But that doesn't work because that's about me, right? This is about your clients. And that's one of the things you got to learn to do. You got to learn to be able to work with your clients by knowing your clients, understanding what their needs are. Even when a couple is completely different, how do you present it? Who's the decision maker in the couple? Because that's also who you're leaning toward. You got to make one happy and maybe another one happier because they are the decision maker. This will help you learn that. So I would encourage you to go to that site, get your own test done, and you'll see in there other things where it explains the profiles, and you'll start to understand that much, much better. So now you're on your path of getting your personal buyer presentation all set up. Maybe you're like me and you don't do that many buyers. Well, you better be prepared for the listing at the same way, because the media has told all these sellers out here they don't have to pay the buyer's agents. You've got to be able to explain that. Can you explain it now? Do you even understand it? Is your firm teaching you, or are you researching how to do this online? Do you feel strong that you can handle this? Because there's going to be agents. The listing agent is kind of protected because that's already established, and you'll be signing that document that you're going to get that, and you'll get paid at the closing. But the buyer's agents are at risk if they're not understanding what they need to know to fill out that buyer agency agreement with the commission structure, understanding how the rate is. If you negotiate one but the seller's offering more, you can't have the difference. That's your fee. You already agreed to it. You also have to be able to be very clear to your buyers that if the seller will not negotiate a commission for you at all, that the seller, or the buyer rather, is responsible to pay you. And you've got to also know that they can afford to pay you. There are different people that they don't have that money in their portfolio. So you got to figure out how do you get validation that they can pay you. Because my background's financial planning. I'm used to asking financial questions. So I'm pretty point blank about it. Show me that if you're going to buy this house, that you've got the funds to be able to do the down payment and whatever we're going to need to do and work with the lender. And also, if for some reason the seller does not want to pay my commission, that you have the ability to pay my commission, because I don't work for free. And I haven't heard that talked about very much lately, but that's a valid point. Now, the VA, who wasn't going to be allowing the buyers to be able to pay the buyer's agent commission, just changed that, which is great. So now the VA loans are protected. They can get paid by the buyer, and they can, I believe, wrap it into the loan, or do they wrap it into the loan? I'm not positive about that. See, that's why you got to get up to date. And I'll be going to check that out for an answer myself today. And I don't mind being vulnerable in here and telling you I don't know something. I rarely do a loan like that, but I would certainly, if I was coming up to it, I would be prepared for that. I hardly do any buyers, period. I do primarily sellers, but it doesn't mean I don't do them, and I still should know the work, right? Just as you should. So be sure and be studying this. Look at different ways. And like I said, if you want that video where they go into really strong detail about how to prepare for this buyer presentation, the mindset of what you're going to say to the buyers, all of that, I have that video. I'm part of a group that shares all their trainings every single Tuesday. If you're interested in that, let me know. I can get you invited to that. It is industry exclusive. There is no company flag waving like come join me. I am with EXP. You don't have to worry about that at all. This is non-denominational, as they say. It's full of great stuff. And I invite hundreds of agents to that every single week. It's interesting how people don't choose to be educated. And the ones that don't choose to be educated are going to leave this business. That's a reality. And so many do, because they think that this is such a cakewalk. It's not. And the truth is, this NAR thing is going to put things on end for a period of time till the ones that are left standing have gotten it in a groove. The people have gotten it in a groove. But think about it. The agents need to have it down pat way before the clients do. Why? Because the clients are only buying and selling maybe at the most every 3 years or so, but it's usually a lot longer than that. So things change in that time frame for them. So they need to be educated every time they go to buy a house, whereas you need to be educated before they even come to you, right? So it's very important. One of the other things that I think that you'll like about the book is it's got tidbits in there, some suggestions. It's full, I think I did 20 different personal development books. In real estate, your attitude is critical. It's also important to just have different ideas. Negotiation is personal development. Learning how to be a good negotiator. Learning how to have balance in your time. Learning how to network. Learning how, there's just so much stuff. But I saved this one little tidbit about the yard sales. So years ago when I moved to North Carolina, again, $600, living with my daughter. Now, 3 years in, I'm managing little bit by little bit because the market had gone up in 2006 when I first started, and then it proceeded to crash right after 2007. So it was a hard time to get started in business, but I pivoted. I figured out what I needed to know, but I'm still growing, right? Because a lot of people weren't even buying. So even though tons of agents had left the market just as they're going to now, I just saw what I needed to do to be strong. Well, I also had just moved out. Now I've got my little cottage on the lake because my target market was my waterfront properties. That's another thing that I talk about in the book. Niche. Find your niche. And I'm a big believer in looking at what's my net, not what's my gross. So now I'm got my little cottage. I don't have any furniture hardly, and pans, anything, dishes, you name it. I hardly had anything. So let me go to some garage sales. So I said, I'm going to go to all the garage sales in the well-to-do areas because they're going to have better stuff, right? And I'll get it really cheap. So I started going around the lake, and I searched on Facebook, I think, or Google, one or the other, for garage sales near me. So now I got my list of my territory that I'm going. And I started going out there, and I noticed, hey, I said, hey, are you selling your house? Is that why you're doing a garage sale, or are you just emptying things out because it's spring? And one said she was just emptying it out because it was spring. And another one said, there's a mosquito in here. Sorry, I get very distracted. Another one said, yeah, I'm selling it. I said, oh, really? Do you have any idea what the price is going to be? Because I didn't want to jump into trying to pitch myself as a realtor. I wanted to find out the price point of the house. And I'm calculating always in my mind, if I had listed a house at a certain price, what's my net? How much am I paying my broker? What's my franchise fee? Because at the time I was at a franchise. What's my net? And so she said, yeah, I'm getting ready to price it. And, we're thinking, I think that one was $500,000. I'm like, shoot, that's a good net right there for me, Miss Broke Lady. And so I said, have you already got yourself a realtor? She goes, well, we've been talking to somebody. I said, would you be open to talking to another? I said, I do a great job on comping the properties. I'd show you my marketing so you knew exactly what I was up to. It's not high pressure. We just meet. And she said yes. And that was great. So I did not get that first listing, but I did after that because I also did not have my cards with me. I didn't go there with that mindset. Now I'm on a mission, right? So now every Saturday I'm out there. I got my list of all the garage sales that are going to be happening because there was a lot. There actually is a lot that go on around. And I had my cards in my back pocket. I'm looking for my stuff for my house. And I'm casually asking the same question. And there was one near my house. And I said to the gal, you know, are you selling it? She goes, well, it's been a rental for us, an investment property. We're going to keep this one, but I got another one right around the corner. If you're interested, you might be able to list that for me. Go check it out. She gave me the keys. I went over there, looked at the house. I said, I'd love to give you some numbers on that. So we met. I got it. I sold it. That one was around $384, which was great. She liked my style. I also stayed in touch. I always stay in touch. And she said, you know, my dad's going to sell his house. You interested in another one? I go, sure, girl. And she goes, this one's a waterfront. I go, even better. I like that a lot. And I don't mind fooling with people. I'm just me. Remember that disc profile? I'm the I. There's a lot of personality that comes out in me. So people are drawn to me because of that. And not everybody. And anyway, she goes, go meet my dad. And, you know, here's the number. I met him, had a nice waterfront. He was a widower and ready to downsize his property. And we got him a great price for it. He was really happy. He also needed to move. I got the buy for him on that move. And then she wanted to buy a waterfront house. She goes, would you help me? I go, sure. So all that from a garage sale. Do you see the ripple effect? Now, none of that would have happened if I hadn't asked. That's the first thing. I was now prepared with my cards in my back pocket. I was not pushy. I did not start with trying to sell their house. I started asking questions. Are you getting ready to move? Just cleaning things out. So it was very nonchalant as I walked around looking at her stuff. But here's another tip. I got there very early. Now, most of them say they'd start at like 7 o'clock. I'd be there at 6:30 because there's other maniacs that are shoppers for garage sales. They're there for the goods, and they know first come gets the best goods. So I would be out there with them, and the beauty of it was they weren't so busy that they were distracted. So I got them calm. I often bought something from their house, and if I didn't need it for me, I bought it as a staging tool, right? Like, see the stuff in the background here, vases and stuff like that. Maybe a vase like that might cost $1. I'm happy to spend $1 to have a little, especially if it was cute, and I could use it in some staging that I would do for my listings. And I'll tell you another secret. Staging, if your seller's not willing to pay for a stager, because that's based a lot of it on price point, you need to learn that trick too if you're going to be a listing agent, because you got to have an eye of how you're going to get rid of some of their personal stuff, and you're going to incorporate some thinness, less personal things, even if they go into the garage. I think I'll make a video about that next. I'm going to make a video about that next, so stay tuned. So anyway, I'd encourage you to get that disc profile, download my book. I'll have the link in both for those things, both of them. And stay tuned for my next one, because I am going to do it on staging houses and how I did it through tag sales and garage sales. And it was inexpensive and beautiful. Look like these shelves. These are not my shelves. That is an AI background or a picture. But that would be the feel that I would do for the staging in my houses. So if you like this, please subscribe. If you want to check out the others, please do. I've got all kinds of tips. And if you are looking to really build your business, if you're a business builder and you say, Kath, I need a leg up, I'd really like to talk to you and see about how you could help me, please book a strategy call with me. That link is also below, and I would love to talk with you and see if maybe I could be of service. No big deal. All right, so stay tuned. I'll see you on the next one.